Late at night, heavy rain poured over a quiet Total gas station. Judge Arthur Sterling just wanted to get home. After a long, exhausting trial, he had traded his formal suit for a comfortable brown hoodie, jeans, and a beanie. He pulled his vintage Bronco up to the pump and swiped his card. He stood in the cold, finally relaxing. Suddenly, blinding red and blue lights cut through the dark. A police cruiser swerved sharply into the lot, aggressively blocking his truck. Officer Brody Mitchell stepped out of the cruiser. He rested his hand heavily on his weapon. "Step away from the vehicle," Mitchell yelled over the storm. Judge Sterling did not panic. He calmly placed the gas nozzle back on the pump. "Good evening, officer. Is there a problem?" he asked in a steady voice. Mitchell marched closer, looking the man up and down with obvious disgust. He saw the casual clothes and made a terrible, instant judgment. "We have had some break-ins nearby," Officer Mitchell snapped. "You match the exact description of the suspect." It was a complete lie. The officer was judging him based entirely on his skin color and his hoodie. Sterling kept his hands perfectly visible. "Officer, my identification is inside the truck. Running my plates will show a federal security hold. Let us not escalate this." But Mitchell's pride was offended. He hated the man's confident, educated tone. "I said do not move," Mitchell shouted. He grabbed Judge Sterling by the arm and twisted him around. The officer pulled out his heavy metal handcuffs. With a harsh snapping sound, Mitchell locked the cold steel tightly around Sterling's wrists. He secured the judge's hands in front of him, pinching the skin. Sterling winced as the metal dug in, but he kept his composure. He knew exactly how the law worked, and he knew this officer was breaking it. "Listen to me very carefully," Judge Sterling warned, his voice low and dangerous. "My name is Arthur Sterling. I am a United States federal judge. You are making a massive mistake." Mitchell let out an ugly, mocking laugh. "Sure you are," the officer sneered. "And I am the president. You are going to jail." He shoved the handcuffed judge into the back of the police cruiser. The heavy door slammed shut, trapping the powerful man in the dark. Officer Mitchell drove his prisoner to the Pine Valley Police Station. He dragged Judge Sterling into a cold, concrete holding cell and locked the door. Mitchell emptied the judge's pockets, tossing a heavy, black phone onto a nearby desk. The phone had no brand name, just a thick rubber case used only by top government officials. Mitchell joked with his co-workers about the stubborn suspect. Inside the cell, Sterling sat in complete silence. He was not scared, but he was furious. Suddenly, the heavy black phone on the desk began to ring. It blasted a loud, sharp alarm. Mitchell walked over and grabbed it. The screen flashed bright red with the words, "Federal Command." Thinking it was a prank from the suspect's friend, Mitchell answered on speakerphone. "Who is this?" Mitchell demanded. A cold, serious voice replied. "This is the United States Marshals Service. The man in your cell is a federal judge. If those handcuffs are not off him in 2 minutes, you will go to prison." Mitchell froze. The color drained from his face as the phone slipped from his hand. Before he could even process the warning, the sound of screeching tires echoed outside. Several heavy, black SUVs surrounded the small police station. Armed federal agents burst through the front doors. They did not wait for permission or stop at the front desk. They marched straight past the terrified local cops and headed directly for the holding cells. Officer Mitchell, shaking with absolute terror, quickly unlocked the cell door. He reached out to remove the metal handcuffs from the judge's wrists. "Leave them on," Judge Sterling commanded. His voice echoed like thunder. Mitchell stepped back, looking sick. "Sir, please," Mitchell begged. "It was dark. I made a mistake." Judge Sterling looked at him with steady eyes. "You wanted to treat me like a criminal. Now, the federal government will document these bruises." The agents did not arrest Mitchell on the spot. Instead, they handed him a strict federal summons. He was ordered to appear in court the very next morning. The next morning, Officer Mitchell sat nervously in a grand federal courtroom. His police chief sat next to him, quietly promising that they could easily explain away the mistake. Mitchell straightened his uniform, hoping the unknown federal judge would be forgiving. The courtroom was packed with reporters and legal observers. Suddenly, the bailiff's voice rang out. "All rise for United States District Judge Arthur Sterling." Mitchell stood up, expecting to see a stranger. The heavy wooden doors behind the bench swung open, and Mitchell's heart completely stopped. The entire room went dead silent. The powerful man stepping up to the bench in a crisp black robe was the exact same man he had shoved into a dirty cell just hours ago. Judge Sterling took his seat with absolute dignity. He did not yell or threaten the officer. Instead, he slowly rolled up the sleeves of his robe, clearly revealing the deep purple bruises on his wrists to the whole room. Mitchell's knees went weak as the judge looked down at him in total silence, ready to begin the hearing. Judge Sterling looked down from the high bench. The courtroom was so quiet that Mitchell could hear his own rapid heartbeat. "Officer Mitchell," the judge began, his voice calm but echoing powerfully across the room. "You took a sworn oath to protect the public. Instead, you used your badge as a weapon to bully and frighten." Mitchell opened his mouth to apologize, but no words came out. The judge held up the false arrest report. "You lied about a burglary. You targeted a citizen simply because of the clothes he wore and the color of his skin. You thought your uniform made you untouchable." Judge Sterling then looked at the terrified police chief sitting nearby. This was not just one mistake by one angry officer. This was a clear pattern of abuse tolerated by your department. Today, that abuse ends permanently. "I am signing an emergency federal order," Judge Sterling announced to the silent room. "Your police department is now under total federal control. Every arrest record and computer will be investigated." He turned his sharp gaze back to the trembling officer. "As for you, Brody Mitchell, you are stripped of your police powers immediately. I am ordering you to be held in federal custody without bail to face trial for severe civil rights violations." 2 federal marshals stepped forward, grabbed Mitchell by the arms, and locked heavy metal handcuffs around his wrists. The disgraced officer was marched out of the courtroom in shame. The lesson of the day was loud and clear for the entire country. Authority must never be used to oppress the innocent. True justice cannot be escaped, and those who hide behind a badge to do wrong will always face the ultimate consequences.